What would be the point of all the pain and sacrifice if I wasn't willing to stand up and keep fighting?
Show a lot of things happening at once. Remind everyone of what's going on. Gonna need a montage. A sports training montage.
After last week's smashing finale, we have the penultimate episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier called Truth. And truth be told, it's pretty good, setting up a crazy finale which might see a new Falcon, new Captain America, and lots of insane reveals. So in this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the episode, looking at what could be in that Wakandan briefcase, what the future has in store for Zemo, and of course,
yada yada yada,
that JLD cameo. This video does contain some serious sleuthing, so if you're not wanting to be spoiled on what might happen next episode, just turn down the volume and put on a blindfold and let it play so I can get that sweet, sweet watch time. Now make sure to like and subscribe, because here we go. And what better encapsulates this new Cap, oh god, these puns are getting worse, than running away from his problems. Picking up right after the events of episode 4, John Walker has hidden himself away in an abandoned factory, haunted by the death of his partner Lamar and the violent act he just committed. It makes sense this happens in a factory since he is basically a manufactured hero. Bucky and Falcon, who witnessed John's savage attack, want the shield back.
You gotta give me the shield, man.
But Cap isn't having it, and in a brawl resembling that of a WWE match, the three fight, with John almost killing Falcon the same way he killed Nico. We can see just how unhinged he is here, but Bucky and Sam working together are able to disarm him, literally breaking his arm in the process. Bucky tosses the bloody shield to Sam. Sam has rejected it throughout the entirety of the season, but it's in this episode he learns to embrace it and take on the mantle. Meanwhile, the GRC is conducting raids in their search for Carly Morgenthau, who 2 episodes ago blew up one of their supply depots, killing 11 people. Joaquin Torres tells Sam that finding Carly will be difficult. She has people all over the world helping her, and when Joaquin tells Sam he forgot his wings, which were ripped off by John in their fight, Sam says to keep them. If you're thinking what I'm thinking, they are setting up Joaquin to be the new Falcon, since Sam will become the new Captain America. The name Joaquin even dates back further than Spanish to Hebrew, meaning lifted by God. Torres taking up the wings may mean we see him taking on Batroc, while Bucky takes on Carly and Sam takes on Evil Cap. Sam's whole journey this season has been about coming to terms with who he is and whether or not he'll take up the mantle of Captain America. In this episode, we see him acquire a briefcase given to him by the Wakandans via Bucky. Most likely, this is a new pair of wings and or suit made with vibranium, so he'll be able to take on the super soldier that is John Walker, who, in the promo material, we see strolling the streets of New York with his new shield. Sam becoming this new Cap has been hinted at in leaked pictures of the new toy line. Notice how John puts his Medal of Honor on the shield. It's unclear whether if he actually made it a part of his shield, but the promo image here suggests he didn't. We've seen how the editors have changed certain shots of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like in this promo material released months ago, which show the Sokovian Memorial quite different than how we see it in episode 5. John is stripped of his rank and given an other than honorable discharge, which he deems unfair. After all,
You built me.
and his wife, who we haven't seen since episode 2, has already started to plan out how to repair his image.
You start by visiting Lamar's parents.
Everyone in John's life, even his wife, have molded him into an image of what he should be, an image almost no person can possibly live up to. Enter Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by none other than Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She was actually scheduled to appear first in Black Widow, but that was pushed back due to COVID. Could she possibly come from the same Soviet training program as Natasha Romanoff and Yelena Bolova? In the comics, she's a triple agent, first working as a sleeper agent for Leviathan, the Soviet espionage agency. Second, she joins S.H.I.E.L.D. And third, infiltrates Hydra, taking up the identity of Madame Hydra. In the comics, she's depicted as having a white streak through her hair, but here it's purple, the same color as her jacket and boots. Purple was heavily used by Zemo, so I'm wondering if there's a connection there, even though Zemo despised Hydra. It's also said she had a love affair together with Nick Fury, and her handing out business cards is just like Nick trying to assemble a crew. Could she be assembling a new crew of villains? Possibly the Thunderbolts, who in the comics were initially conceived by, surprise surprise, Baron Zemo. Later in the episode, we see Zemo being taken away to the Raft by the Wakandans, the Raft being the special underwater prison which Sam actually spent time during Captain America Civil War. Something tells me this isn't the last we'll see of Zemo. But going back to that scene, we see how Bucky has changed, making amends with Zemo deciding not to kill him even after all the shit Zemo made Bucky do as the Winter Soldier. Bucky's internal journey is far from over. In his talk with Sam, we learn that Bucky has been going about making amends all the wrong way. This exercise is not about making himself feel better, it's about making others. And he can do this by giving them closure. And who do we know who needs closure? Of course, it's Mr. Nakajima, who doesn't know that Bucky killed his son when he was the Winter Soldier. Expect that next episode. Back in Baltimore, Sam visits Isaiah, but before we do, we get a glimpse of Isaiah's grandson, Eli, who, if you haven't seen my episode 2 breakdown, later becomes the superhero Patriot, a member of the Young Avengers. Sam learns more about Isaiah's past, how he was used as a test subject, a prisoner, unable to see his wife, and later discarded like a piece of trash. It's no wonder he says,
"Those stars and stripes don't mean nothing good to me."
For Isaiah, the shield is a representation of all the bad America has done to him and African Americans in general. He even says no self-respecting black man would ever want to be Captain America. This all ties into Sam's speech in episode 1, where he says symbols are only as good as the men and women behind them. In the past, we've seen Steve Rogers a beacon of hope and justice, while John Walker one of injustice. If Sam does end up taking up the mantle, he will become a new symbol, one which can help heal the injustices of the past. There's no better metaphor for this healing than Sam and Sarah's boat. Sam has continually said they can't get rid of this broken down thing because it's a part of their history. They just can't erase it like Isaiah's past was erased, but they can refurbish it, make it better, heal it. The ship is a metaphor for the healing of America. After a little flirting between Bucky and Sarah, and of course a Heineken product placement, Bucky agrees to stay with Sam for a bit. We get these great little moments of Sam's nephews playing with the shield, really showing that even after what the new Cap did, Steve's legacy hasn't been tarnished. The new Cap consoles Lamar's family and later sees a poster of Cap is back, all of this fueling him to later go rogue and construct his own suit and shield. In our only scene featuring Sharon, she's on the phone with someone speaking French. The subtitles confirm this is Georges Batroc, who we saw in episode 1 and who we'll later see working with the Flag Smashers. I still think Sharon is the power broker, and we know the power broker wants Carly for her super soldier blood after the vials were destroyed in episode 4. My guess is that Batroc will end up double-crossing Carly and the Flag Smashers somehow. In the promo material, we do see Sharon showing up in a parking garage with red lights in the background. Red lights which we saw go off at the GRC meeting. Could she have finally made it back to New York after she said she couldn't travel out of Madripoor fearing extradition? It's interesting the scene begins on Theodore Géricault's 1819 painting The Raft of the Medusa, the director purposely focusing on a black man at the center of the frame. The painting itself shows the stranded crew of the Medusa trying to flag down a rescue ship. I'll let you decide what the director was trying to say here. The scene ends on Monet's Impressionist painting Woman with a Parasol. Impressionism was given its name by a French art critic who said the paintings weren't complete and rather just impressions or sketches of the finished product. Perhaps we are only getting an impression of who Sharon really is, something to be revealed in the final episode. She is that woman in the parasol. Sam and Bucky have come a long way since partnering up in episode 2. They've become good friends even if neither has said it outright. They talk again about Sam not taking up the shield, as he literally takes up the shield.
The legacy of that shield is complicated, to say the least.
Just like the history of America is complicated. Bucky says the shield was the closest thing he had to family, and by Sam giving it away, he had nothing left. I think Bucky will soon learn that Sam will become something like a second family to him. Out in public, Batroc does the stupidest thing and opens a briefcase full of weapons. Dovich here is not impressed with Carly's plan.
So we're working with criminals now.
Remember, he didn't know about Carly's plan to blow up the supply depot. I wouldn't be surprised if Carly goes too far in her plan that Dovich ends up switching sides or stopping her in some way, especially if Batroc turns out to double-cross them. Carly's plan involves stopping the GRC from voting on the Patch Act, an act which would see 20 million refugees returned back to their countries of origin. Remember that the Flag Smashers believe in a unified world with no borders.
One world.
One people.
One world.
One people.
This guy, who gets a message on his phone because he's loyal to the Flag Smashers, looks like it could be the same security guard who locks the GRC in and says "one world, one people" near the end of the episode. In one of the promo videos, we see the delegates attacked by what appears to be gas. Torres alerts Sam to recent Flag Smasher activity in New York, hinting that's where the next strike will take place. So it looks like next episode is culminating in this massive attack on New York with all our players, Sam, Bucky, Evil Cap, Sharon, and the Flag Smashers, battling it out. I think we'll see Sam and Bucky victorious, however, it will likely set up something much larger for the MCU. You don't have a huge star like Julia Louis-Dreyfus in for just one scene in one show without her being promised a much larger role in the MCU. But to find out how exactly she fits into all this, we'll just have to wait until next episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please make sure to give the video a like and subscribe, and for more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.